الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Welcome to lecture number 9 in the reading module. In this lecture we are going to talk about consumerism and the human brain, which is a new topic in or a new, let's say, area of focus in this module or in this course. This is one of the things that I like about this course and about the book, is that in each chapter of the book talks about a different topic, and that gives us a good opportunity to learn some new vocabulary items from different areas or from different genres, from different, let's say, areas of focus. So we've talked about money and banking, we've talked about education in the first chapter, and in this chapter we are talking about consumerism and the human brain. So we're going to have this, let's say, essay, all right, divided into paragraphs. For each paragraph we have a number of questions. Try to memorize or to remember the skills that we have learned in the previous lectures and try to apply them here. What do I mean by that? For example, we have learned about identifying noun phrases and other types of phrases, noun phrases, verb phrases, infinitive phrases, and so on. So as you read, please do your best to identify noun phrases, verb phrases, and so on. Okay, we have also learned about getting the meaning of new words from the context. So we are going to practice that as we read. The best way to read, as I always say, is to read silently and very quickly. We have learned how to skim, how to scan. So please apply that while you read. Now I'm going to read that loudly, just so that you know the correct way of pronouncing some words. So if you are interested, I'm going to read this reading selection right now. I'm going to read it off the screen, so I'll have to face this way. Paragraph A, first of all, this consumerism and the human brain. This is the title of the whole reading selection, not only paragraph A. But in paragraph A, we are all consumers. We all buy and use products and services. That is, we consume. The word comes from the Latin word consumer, which means to use up, to waste or destroy. Most of us don't think of ourselves as wasteful or destructive, but the world economy is based on consumerism. Today, people worldwide have greater access than ever before to a huge variety of products and often to dozens of brands of the same product. What makes us decide to buy a brand A instead of brand B when the two items are really identical? Why do we buy things that we don't actually need? The answer lies in marketing, the advertising and selling of products. Successful marketers use their knowledge of psychology and increasingly of recent studies of the human brain to persuade us to consume more and more. Right. So now we have read this reading selection. If you haven't read it carefully and silently, please do so right now and think about these questions. First of all, what is the topic of this paragraph? That's number one. What's the topic? So what is it about? And then, what is the main idea? So what is it that the author wants to say about the topic? Once you have done that, please try to guess the meaning of marketing. What is the meaning of marketing? Use the cues that we have learned in lecture 1. And then we have theirs, which is up there, second line, or let's say, I think it's eighth line, around the eighth line. So there, what does it refer back to? Try to use the skills that we have learned in previous lectures. And here are the answers. We read this reading selection, and then we can tell that consumerism is the topic. How do we know that? Well, basically because this reading selection, this paragraph, is about consumerism. It starts with, we are all consumers. We all buy and use products. It talks about, in every single sentence, it talks about consumerism. So what is consumerism, and how do we consume? Why do we consume? And so on. So this is the general topic. And you could tell that also from the title. Here, consumerism, the first word. Up there, consumerism. All right? Okay, what about the main idea? To me, it's this sentence here. It starts from here and ends there. How do we know this? This is the most important question. The thing is that we don't need to say this is the main idea and that's it. We need to explain. Why do you think this is the main idea? To me, let's read the sentences together and see which ones are general, which ones are specific. Which ones actually, which ones are, provide details. Which sentences provide details or extra examples, and which ones are general, and all the other sentences are related to that sentence. Okay? So to me, it's this one. What makes us decide to buy brand A or brand B? The answer lies in marketing. The answer lies in marketing. So what makes us decide to buy A instead of B? The answer lies in marketing, or the advertising, or the advertising and selling of products. Let's read the rest of the sentences. The first one here is a general one. We are all consumers. We buy, products and services. This word comes from Latin. All right, so extra details. We are not really, this whole paragraph is not about where this word comes from, right? It's not about consumers, that we are all consumers, right? And then, most of us don't think of ourselves as wasteful or destructive. All right? And today, people worldwide have greater access than ever before to a huge variety of products. So we have a lot of products. Then the question, why, if we have a wide variety of products, why do we decide to buy brand A, not brand B? So this is the real question. So this is, let's say, the results of these first few sentences. What makes us decide? The answer lies in marketing. And then this sentence also is related to this sentence. So successful marketers use their knowledge of psychology and recent studies of the human brain to persuade us to buy. So this is the main idea. Then marketing, which can be found. First of all, let me erase this. Okay. So marketing, which can be found there. What is the meaning of marketing? It's the advertising and selling of products. How do we know that? Simply because we have a dash here. And as we have learned in the first lecture, if we have a dash, that tells you, or punctuation marks, that might give you a clue that what comes after might be the meaning of this word. And in this context, it works, yeah? So marketing actually means the advertising and selling of products. Then we have there, which is underlined somewhere here, right? So they're successful. Now what does it refer back to? Successful marketers use their, right? So let's go back and read and look for some possible antecedents. So the answer lies in marketing. Then successful marketers use their knowledge. So basically their refers back to successful marketers. So successful marketers use their knowledge, the knowledge of successful marketers, to, of psychology and increasing of, a human brain, studies on the human brain, to persuade us to buy more and more, or to consume more and more. So there refers back to successful marketers. Let's move to paragraph B. And let's read it together. A good understanding of human weakness is essential if a company wants to sell a product. One way that advertisers persuade us to buy a product is by targeting our dissatisfaction with ourselves, our fears. Consider for a moment a typical fear of being offensive to other people. Advertisers persuade us, for example, that if we don't buy their products or their mouthwash, we'll have bad breath and offend other people. Dentists tell us that mouthwash is actually unnecessary. They explain that we need only simple dental hygiene, or regular correct use of a soft toothbrush and of dental floss. But we continue to spend money on mouthwash, breath fresheners, and breath mints. Our fear of offending people outweighs our dentist's logic. Right. Now, what is the topic and the main idea of this reading selection? And then, what is the meaning of dental hygiene? As to pronoun reference, we have they. So, let's do it together. First of all, what is the topic? Marketing and human weaknesses. How do we know this? Well, simply because this topic or this paragraph does not talk about psychology, obviously. It doesn't talk about mouthwash. It's not only about mouthwash. Mouthwash here is an example. All right? It doesn't talk about our fears only. The whole summary of this paragraph would be marketing and human weaknesses. One example of the weaknesses is our fear of offending other people. So here, the first sentence sets the ground. A good understanding of human weakness is essential if a company wants to sell a product. All right? One way that advertisers persuade us to buy a product is by targeting our fears, now our dissatisfaction with ourselves. So this is the key. All right? This is the key to introduce a topic. And then consider for a moment a typical fear, now this shouldn't be here actually, of being offensive to other people. Okay? Now this is an example. So this is, again, not the main idea. This is not the main idea, it's just an example. So marketers use our dissatisfaction, we are not happy with, dissatisfaction, not happy with. They target our dissatisfaction with ourselves. For example, consider a fear of being offensive to other people. No one wants to be offensive to other people. So, what is the other example? Another example is that advertisers persuade us that if we don't buy their mouthwash, we are going to have bad breath and then offend people. Okay, so that's also an example. So we know this is not the main idea. So we continue reading. Dentists here tell us that mouthwash is actually not necessary. All right? And then they explain that we need only simple dental hygiene. Dental hygiene, regular, correct use of a soft toothbrush and dental floss. All right. Then, after that, but we continue to spend money, so that's also an example. All right, that's all an example. So what is the main idea? Just read all of the sentences here and tell me which sentence is the general one. Which one is the general sentence? To me, it's this one. A good understanding of human weakness is essential if a company wants to sell a product. So as you can see here, this is stated above there. All right? At the very beginning, this writer told us that good marketers, or one way that marketers target our fears, or let's say one way of marketing, is by targeting our fears. All right? So then we have another example. Consider for a moment. And then another example, mouthwash. This is another example. All right? And then the rest of the sentences talk about what? About the same example. So that's what is the general idea here, the main idea. The general idea is not the example itself, it's the general sentence. Sometimes you can use your own words to write the main ideas. In the exam, of course, you might have options, so you can actually choose which one, and you could tell that this is general, this is specific. If I say, for example, in the examples, or in the options, mouthwash, you should know that mouthwash here is only an example. All right? So the general idea, what do we learn from this paragraph? A good understanding of human weaknesses or weakness is essential if a company wants to sell a product. It's this first sentence. All right, then one way to do that, so this is one example. One way means one example. Okay, they target our fears. And then consider another example or extra details. Fear of being offensive to people. Even more detailed, mouthwash. Right? So as you can see now we have example, more specific example, a more specific example. So as we go along, these are specific information, all about, talking about this first sentence. All right, now we ask the next question. Which is written down there, dental hygiene. What is dental hygiene? Okay, what is it first of all? It's this one here. And we know that regular, correct use of a soft toothbrush or a soft toothbrush and dental floss, this is the meaning of dental hygiene. How do we know this? Simply because there's a dash here after dental hygiene, and what comes after the dash is explanatory. It explains what that is, dental hygiene. So correct and regular use of a soft toothbrush and dental floss. All right, then we have they here. What does it refer back to? As always, when I ask a question, stop, answer, and then continue watching the lecture. They, let's read the first, or let's read the sentence from the very beginning. Dentists tell us that mouthwash is actually unnecessary. All right? They explain that we need only simple dental hygiene. So, one possible antecedent here is dentists. Dentists, right? To examine whether our sentence or our option is correct or not, let's replace it. So let's take out they and then put dentists. So, dentists explain that we need only simple dental hygiene. That works. So they actually refers back to dentists. And we know that they here is plural, dentists, plural, so it works. And the meaning is correct, so we know that this is the this is the correct answer. Now we are done with paragraph B. Let's look at paragraph C. Let's read it first. Read it silently if you wish and try to answer these questions. I'm going to read it right now. With so many different but almost identical brands of the same product, what causes us to choose one brand instead of another? According to Dr. Alan Hirsch, our sense of smell actually influences our opinion of a product and our decision to buy it. A scientist at the Smell and Taste Treatment and Research Foundation in Chicago, Hirsch ran a careful, well-organized study. There were 2 identical rooms with an identical pair of Nike sneakers in each room. There was only one difference. He sprayed one of the rooms with a scent of flowers. Volunteers entered each room and answered questions about the sneakers. The result was that 84% of the people preferred the sneakers in the room with the floral smell, even though they were exactly the same as the ones in the other room. Right. Now, what is the topic of this paragraph? What do you think the 2 or 3 most important words that should be there in the title of this paragraph? Is it about shoes? Or is it about, this Nike sneakers? Or is it about scientists? No, it's not about that. The whole idea here is, the whole idea of this reading selection is smell and marketing. So this is the title. Smell and marketing, or the effect of smell on marketing. All right, you can use your own words if you wish. But smell is actually essential. This is central to this paragraph, let's say. So it's not about Nike sneakers. It's not about whatever. It's not about, for example, Chicago or scientists, or about the Smell and Taste Treatment and Research Center. It's not about that. These are only examples. But the main idea, the big idea that covers this whole reading selection, smell and marketing. So this is the topic. This is what the reading selection is about. Now, what does the author want to say about smell and marketing? Does he want to tell us that smell is actually not necessary? Or he or she wants to tell us that smell is necessary? So is or is not necessary? The main idea to me here is that our sense of smell actually influences our opinion of a product and our decision to buy it. So this is the main idea. You can use your own words. Your words can be different from this one. That's fine, as long as you convey this message. So our sense of smell influences our, decision or opinion of a product and decision to buy it. All right, it, in line 20, let me just find it. It should be there, yes. What does it refer back to? Let's read the sentence from the very beginning. All right. Our sense of smell actually influences our opinion of a product and our decision to buy it. All right. Now let's look at some singular antecedent. This is singular, it. Some singular words would be decision, a product, opinion, smell. Now, these are possible, all right, or these are options, let's say. But let's try to use these words in place of that pronoun. So, this influences our opinion of a product and our decision to buy smell. That doesn't work. And our decision to buy opinion. That doesn't work as well. And our decision to buy decision. That doesn't work. Now let's try product here. And so the sense of smell actually influences our opinion of a product and our decision to buy the product. Yes, it works. So the correct answer is product. Okay, he, which is down there, what does it refer back to? Let's read the sentences from the very beginning. There was only one difference, he sprayed, so it's not clear. Let's go to the previous sentence. There were two identical rooms with an identical pair of Nike sneakers in each room. So still we don't have that. So we read from the very beginning, and then we read here that a scientist at this center called whatever this Alan Hirsch or Hirsch. Okay, so Hirsch ran a careful, well-organized study. And then this is the description of the study, if you read it. This is the description of the study. And then we have this pronoun he. So he refers back to the person who ran the experiment or the study. So he refers back to this person here, Dr. Alan Hirsch. All right, I hope that this is clear. Now let's read paragraph D. There is also the effect of self-fulfilling prophecies. A self-fulfilling prophecy is a situation in which people cause a prediction to come true. For example, a teacher tells a class that they are especially intelligent, and that semester the class does especially well on exams. In marketing, a successful advertisement persuades consumers that a product works well. Their belief causes them to use the product in such a way that it works, that it does work well. For example, the ads for brand X of a diet pill say, take this and you will lose weight because you won't be hungry. So people buy brand X because they believe it will cause weight loss. They begin to eat less. They establish a new habit of eating less. The result, they lose weight. Is this because of the pill or because they are eating less? Well, obviously, the answer to that is that they are eating less, okay, They are eating less, but why are they eating less? Because they believe the pill works. So they take the pill and then they eat less. Anyways, what is the topic and what is the main idea? The answers. The topic here is about self-fulfilling prophecies. We can say marketing and self-fulfilling prophecies. That works. So marketing and self-fulfilling prophecies. This is what the topic is about. It's not about diet. The word diet here, or that diet pill, where is it? Yeah, that diet pill, that is only an example. This whole reading selection is not about the pill, it's about the idea that there is an effect of self-fulfilling prophecies. So things, if you believe in something, you will work in such a way that it works, or that fulfills what you believe in. And the main idea, when we buy products, we believe what advertisers say about their influence, and it comes true. So for example, if marketers tell you that this pill will make you eat less, you take the pill, and because you believe that this pill works, you will eat less. Right? So this is not the effect of the pill, it's the effect of your belief that this pill actually works. For example, if you take a pill and the advertisers tell us that if you eat or if you take this pill, you will be active and you will go to the gym and all of that. Okay? So you take that pill, and because you believe that it works, you will go to the gym. And then you see, well, it works. Actually, it's not the pill that made you decide to go to the gym. It's actually your decision, your actually belief, all right, that this will work. So the main idea, when we buy products, we believe what advertisers say about them or about their influence. And because we believe in that, it comes true. So this is actually self-fulfilling prophecies. Paragraph E. Most of us like to think that we are reasonable, independent thinkers. We like to believe that we have a good reason for our choices. We don't want to buy products because of some strange compulsion, some irrational desire that we cannot control. The truth is, however, that with their increasing knowledge of what goes on in the human brain, marketers might have more power over us than we realize. Now the topic and the main idea. Making choices is the topic, and the main idea. When buying any product, marketers might have more power over us than we realize, which is down there. All right, so this is only an introduction. This introduces. We like to think that, but the rest of the sentences are not about that first sentence. We don't want to buy products because of some strange compulsion. All right? The truth is, however, that with their increasing knowledge, so the more they know, the more control of us they have. I would ask you a question here as well. So what is the meaning of compulsion? Strange. Compulsion. We notice that there is a dash here, a punctuation mark. After that, we have some explanation, some irrational desire that we cannot control. So it's a desire, you want something, but you want it so bad and you cannot control it. This is called compulsion. All right. So if you have a question, what is meant by compulsion? It's some irrational, so without reason, desire that we cannot control. Okay. Now let's look at this example and let's try to match let's try to match the words with their meanings. But okay, let's do this after the next lecture. All right, it would be better if we do this in the next lecture. I would say do it in the next lecture, not this one. All right, so I would repeat this one in the coming lecture. But let's look at this exercise here. Advertisers persuade us to buy a product by targeting our fears. This sentence we have read together. What is it? Is it a noun phrase, prepositional phrase, infinitive phrase, or verb phrase? Try to remember. I think we've talked about this in the previous lecture. We have to here before the verb. This is a verb, yes, buy. But we need not confuse this with to, because if we have to, then that makes it an infinitive phrase. All right? If we didn't have this to, then it would be a verb phrase maybe. Buy a product. But to buy a product, this is infinitive. Now, we've also talked about suffixes. All right? So yes, suffixes. So you now should be able to tell me that this is a noun, this is a verb, and so on, or this is an adjective, just by looking at these suffixes. All right? So I'm going to, well, you should now pause the video and try to answer this exercise, and then play the video to check your answers. I'm going to go through this very quickly, and you should be able to, replay the lecture and then rewind the lecture and then check the answers. So, number 1, adjective. Always look for the suffix. All right? Marketer. So that's noun. Psychologist, noun. Literacy, all right, noun. Identical, adjective. Violent, adjective. Influence, noun. Information, noun. I'm underlining the suffixes for you to revise. So how do I know that this is a noun or an adjective? Just by looking at the suffixes there. Okay, number 9. Offensive, adjective. Influential, adjective. Compulsion, noun. Violence, noun. Computer, noun. Pressure, noun. Society, noun. Addition, noun. Expensive, adjective, because we have this IVE. Different, adjective. Poverty, noun. Requirement, another noun. Pleasure, look at the suffix, noun. Enormous, adjective. Scientist, noun. Basic, adjective. Failure, that's a noun. Special, adjective. Consumer, look at the ER here. All right. And then, so consumer is a noun. Public, adjective. plural adjective, logical adjective, culture is a noun. I hope that you found this really easy. Just look at the suffix and then you can tell the part of speech of that word. Sometimes it might be confusing. Some words can be used as nouns and verbs at the same time. But this should also be, or you should be able to tell me that by context, if that sentence or if that word was in a sentence. You can tell that this is in place of a noun or in place of a verb. But in most cases, you can tell by looking at the suffix, right? So revise the suffixes that we've explained in the previous lectures, and then check your answers here. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope that you found this lecture useful, and see you next week, inshallah.
أربع سنين